Hey.
So this is my brother Sam. So we're going to talk a little bit spoilers. So one thing spoilerly I liked was that I thought that Kylo Ren was an interesting character in the sense that he's battling with the light.
Right.
You can tell he's sort of this baby in a way.
Yeah, he's like a little toddler almost.
Yeah, like he's like, I want to be like you, looking at Vader.
When someone gives him bad news, he just kind of has a temper tantrum and like
destroys everything in the ship. And I did like that line where the stormtroopers were they see him destroying
and
they're
then
like,
they turn around, they're like hightail it out of there.
That was really good.
I guess my spoiler thing that was good would be John Boyega's character.
Yes.
I think it's really cool to have a character that is originally from the Empire kind of defect, and it brings up a lot of like possible awesome plot lines of like rebellion within the Empire, and it kind of humanizes the Stormtrooper character in a way that we haven't seen before.
Even like Vader says, Kylo Ren says, like, it's too late. It's too late. So there's this idea that like once you're in their power of the dark side, that's it. It's done. For me, a negative, I'm disappointed with a couple different villains. I was disappointed with Snoke.
Supreme Leader Snoke.
Snoke. I don't like the name. I was disappointed with Snoke. I didn't like how big he was. I know he's a projection, but I just didn't like the look of him. I thought he looked cheesy. That Hux was cool, and I thought that Kylo Ren was really cool. And so for me, like for them to be at the worship of this thing I didn't think was this cool, that was a little
he just didn't
disappointing.
feel intimidating.
No.
And you brought up a point how this movie is not as dark as like Jurassic World, and I think that is a problem considering it's a Star Wars movie. Mm-hmm. And we didn't really get that feeling that the Sith were like intimidating or evil. I guess they're not technically Sith as far as we know, but
I wouldn't say necessarily that it's not as dark as Jurassic World, but I would just say that it's not as violent.
Yeah, you don't get the same feeling looking at Snoke as you did looking at the Emperor. There's not that same.
Mm-mm.
So I think there's more. I think they're doing kind of a Wizard of Oz type of thing. I don't think he's actually that being. I think that Supreme Leader Snoke is something more powerful, and they're gonna kind of have a reveal in the later movies. They're kind of holding it out, which is fine.
Yeah, I would be really curious, and just the special effects of it, I just didn't think it looked that good.
Yeah, it didn't fit with the rest of the movie.
Pointed with Captain Phasma because she's such an awesome character. I have like a poster of her in my room, and she's kind of wimp.
Well, yeah, she really doesn't. They don't use her at all.
Yeah, she's not in that much, and she turns off the shield pretty easily.
It could come. I mean, she could come back in the next one with kind of a revenge plotline.
Yeah, because here's what so Finn is able to convince her to. I felt like take down the shield pretty easily for someone as like hardcore as she's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So that was disappointing. But I kind of wonder if like in the next one, Finn is going to like use her to kind of start the rebellion within the Empire.
That'd be cool. She
Wouldn't that
turns
be cool?
out to be a good guy.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That's just
that'd be interesting.
100% speculation. But I just felt like she's kind of easily.
Or she's gonna be like super angry and try to kill everybody. But
that could be too. I loved Rey as a character. I thought she was awesome. But I do agree with you. Some things we've talked about that I felt like she was kind of MacGyver in space.
Yeah. So I guess my big negative overall, not counting the Death Star planet, would be that I think Rey develops her force powers too soon. Mm-hmm. And looking back on it, there's a moment where, Kylo Ren and her are trying to both grab the lightsaber, but you don't know it's Rey. When it goes to her hand, that moment would have been more powerful if we hadn't already seen her use her Jedi powers.
Mm-hmm. So there is sort of a sense of, with Rey, that she just kind of learns all of this stuff without having anyone have to teach her. Yeah. And even, Kylo says, like, I want to teach you, and you need a great teacher. So it makes me wonder maybe in the next one if because there's the scene with Maz Kanata and she sees the vision, and so I wonder if there's some kind of like force wipe or something that she's forgotten some of the training that maybe she did have, because it seems like she kind of starts to remember in a way.
Well, they are going. You can tell they're going to a direction with like mind control and like mind reading. Yeah. Just in this one, and so that's probably what they're setting up for with like the big bad guy. And so maybe her memories of being left in Jakku aren't even real, but that was a way they were just going to keep her out of the picture.
Because Maz says to her, like, what you're waiting for isn't real or isn't going to happen or something like that.
It's like they're never coming back.
And you have to find another. So what is it? What is that other thing? You know, that's really interesting. So it wasn't a deal. None of these things were deal breakers to me. I was so entertained by the film. I really liked it. I feel like it's one that people are going to be able to keep talking about. I loved Poe Dameron. We didn't really talk about that. I thought he was a great character.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
Well, all the spaceship fights, I mean, they were mostly on, like land-based, but they were all expertly shot. Like, they were super cool. So. And,
all the cinematography was really cool. Like, the scenes on Jakku with, with all the old junkyard ships and everything, and seeing the Millennium Falcon and
all
everything.
The practical effects of everything just looked awesome. And
I guess we have to talk of the spoiler section. You'd have to talk about Han. And I really didn't see that coming. I saw it when I was watching the movie. I saw it, but before it, I wasn't predicting it. And I cried. I thought it was, especially, I cried more when he, like, puts his hand up to his face and you think this is his son. And there's, like, a second where you almost think that Kylo is going to go with him. You know, he says, I don't know if I can do it.
Well, I think what it turns out he was talking about is he didn't know if he could kill Han.
Yeah.
Because Snoke wanted him to do that as, like, the final step in his conversion to Sith. Dumb.
Yeah. And so I'm curious, what's going to happen now after, he has done this big deed. Like, is he now going to be 100% converted, or there's always this good in him that, I don't know. It's just interesting.
Well, yeah, it's interesting how the tables are kind of flipped in this one with a character that's conflicted, because normally he's conflicted about going to the dark side, from the light, but this is, completely flip the script. He's a dark character who has so much persuasion towards the light, which is really strange.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wonder too, like, if you think about the beginning scene, you see the Max von Sydow character, he gives the plan, he gives Luke's map, he gives to Poe, and Poe gives it to BB-8, and you just wonder, like, who's he, how did he get it, what's all with that? Like, I kind of wonder how he's connected to Rey, how he's connected to Leia, to Han, what's going on, because we know that Luke had this, like, school or whatever, or this group of Jedis that he was training, and something bad happened where Kylo,
Ben Solo
betrays them, and, and that causes Luke to leave, which is really interesting and kind of feels...
One thing I was wondering is, why is there even a map to him?
Yeah,
why didn't he just hide?
Well, and a piece of a map.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. And the fact that this guy ended up having it. So I feel like that's all things that we're going to get little pieces of in the next one. And so we're all kind of, I don't think it's the last we'll see of Max von Sydow. I
think they'll probably do, like, flashbacks.
Flashbacks, yeah.
I mean, they already did kind of like a flashback type of thing. And it worked. It looked pretty cool. I mean, it wasn't cheesy at all. The Vision?
Yeah, the Vision.
So I think they could definitely throw some backstory. Maybe in, like, the first 20 minutes of the movie, they just started out there.
Well, the other interesting thing I wanted to talk about, too, is I liked the way that in this film, the Force is more of... Because I've always felt like the Force was a spiritual force. And in the prequels, I felt like the Force, because of the midichlorians and everything like that, became something that you were either, like, blessed with or you weren't. Whereas in this case, even like Maz Kanata, she's not a Jedi. She's not, but she feels it. She senses it. She knows.
But that kind of brings up the problem with Rey. And it's like, why is she in particular? Like, I guess the theory is that she's Luke's daughter. But, there is still kind of that, like, bloodline makes you good at something.
Yeah, and there's still some of that for sure. But I just kind of liked the way that there was, I don't know, just sort of this spiritual element to the film back into the lore again.
Yeah.
As opposed to it being purely sort of scientific and practical, which is what you got in the prequels. So I really like I said, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super fun. It's definitely going to be in my very high up on my favorites of the year. And it makes me very excited for episode 8.
Yeah.
And also excited for Rogue One next year, because I've seen that they can do it and they can make a successful one. And that one's going to be really fun because it doesn't have anything to do with the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a whole new story. Which is what makes, I think, Star Wars great and so important versus other franchises, is that it's a whole world.
And those
Galaxy.
different stories can stand up to themselves.
Yeah. So who knows? People could end up liking that one the best of all.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, thanks so much
for
doing this, and let us know what you think. We talked about a lot of different things. So, and let us know what you thought of the movie. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you thought it was just okay, that's fine too. And don't be a jerk. If people don't like it as much as you do, it's not a big deal. Thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.